Finally, guys, Andrea Berta has been announced as Arsenal's new sporting director, and it's time for all Arsenal fans to be very, very excited. The deal was driven by Arsenal's managing director, Richard Garlick, Tim Lewis, Josh Kroenke, and obviously Mikel Arteta का inputs भी था. Obviously, he's a connections guy. ठीक है, he's all about networking, he's all about connections, he's all about getting the deals done. बात करेंगे उसके ऊपर. But if there's a player out there who's worth signing, Berta probably has their number saved on his phone, probably right next to the pizza delivery guy. Will he be the secret sauce that transforms our squad into a title-winning machine, or will he be like the last slice of pizza that nobody really wants? What does he bring to the table other than a bowl of pasta?
बंद करो हाथ जोड़ के मैं
To know all about Berta and वो क्या है, कौन है, क्या काम करेगा, I have divided the video into 3 segments. Who is Andrea Berta, his time at Genoa and Atleti, and his to-do list at Arsenal Football Club. And as usual, we have a special message from a very special guest. Segment 1, who is Andrea Berta? ठीक है, Edu Gaspar, who was Arsenal's first ever technical director, appointed in the summer of 2019, उनको पहले promotion मिला था to sporting director in November 2022. He resigned in November 2024 to join Nottingham Forest and उनका multi-club model जो भी है. In the meantime, Jason Ito, who was Edu ka assistant, he had been occupying the role on an interim basis. And he was one of the contenders for this sporting director role. So to fill this position, what the Arsenal management did was they had prepared a 5-man shortlist. Former Manchester United sporting director Dan Ashworth, Monaco se Thiago Scuro, Real Sociedad के sporting director Roberto Olabe, and Thomas Rosicky, Slavia Prague के. And of course, Jason Ito was also one of the contenders, like I said. January में it was already reported, news आ गया था कि he's already in London and he's taking English lessons, English सीख रहा है वगैरह वगैरह. So which fueled the rumors and which more than gave us the hope कि भाई Berta is the one who's actually going to join Arsenal as this new sporting director. Milan wanted him obviously, but he had already given his word to Arsenal and he wanted to test out his mettle basically in the UK, and that is why he chose Arsenal, is what we are hearing as of now. So Berta won't be like a one-man kind of a thing. He won't run a one-man operation. जो भी major decisions होंगे, whether it be related to the women's team or the academy or the men's team, so all of them will be committee based. All of those decisions will be committee based. And ये committee में Richard Garlick रहेंगे, James King रहेंगे, Tim Lewis रहेंगे, Josh Kroenke रहेंगे, and Mikel Arteta भी रहेंगे. But Berta will probably still bear a lot of responsibility for what deals happen and what do not. Second segment, his time at Genoa and Atleti. ठीक है, let's take a deep dive. He's an ex-banker. That's what we know. He's 53, he's Italian, he's an ex-banker, okay? And he was in his mid-20s when he decided to enter into the footballing world. It was in a club called as Carpenedolo, which is in his home province of Brescia. His primary skill set is mostly finance, scouting, and networking. These were the 3 major skill set of Berta. And with the backing of the local businessman Tommaso Gherardi, Carpenedolo, which was like a semi-pro team, it achieved 4 back-to-back consecutive promotions to reach Italy's 4th tier, 3rd or 4th tier. It is what I read. So in 2007, when Gherardi took over Parma, which was already bankrupt, Berta went with Gherardi क्योंकि दोस्ती बन गई थी, and Gherardi already knew what Berta has or had to offer back then. Uska skill set and everything he was already aware of. And wo Parma team mein, it was, I think, there he worked with Claudio Ranieri as well. He worked there for 2 years and then he joined Genoa in 2009 where Gasperini was manager. This is where it gets interesting. ठीक है, Genoa में the moment the year that Berta joined Genoa, that same season Genoa had finished 5th, just falling short of a Champions League place. And Diego Milito and Thiago Motta had stellar seasons with Genoa. Okay, and they left the moment Berta आया. तब तक वो लोग निकल गए थे. So he was tasked with replacing these 2 crucial players. ठीक है, दोनों के दोनों, Diego Milito and Thiago Motta, they went to Inter Milan by the way. So he brought in Rodrigo Palacio, he brought in Hernan Crespo. थोड़े टाइम बाद he brought in the likes of Socrates, whom all Arsenal fans will recognize. He brought in the likes of Kevin Prince Boateng. Next season he brought in Luca Toni on a free transfer. He brought in Kaladze on a free transfer. He brought in Miguel Veloso, Portugal se. He brought in the Brazilian right back Rafinha. Next season he sold Steven El Shaarawy. He sold Dominic El Crisito. बहुत अच्छे वैल्यूज पे उनको सेल करा. He was also involved in the purchase of Gilardino, the striker, the Italian striker. वो 3 साल में ना, वो in those 3 years at Genoa, he made more than 55 to 60 transfers. If you include all the loans ना, the number of deals were close to 100 in less than 3 years. ठीक है, and most of this purchases and most of this sales जो भी हुए हैं, they all fell into the profit of money making वाले bracket. 2011-12 वाला सीजन में Genoa had a very rough season. I think 2 या 3 managers को वो लोग ने sack करा था वो season, and they barely survived relegation that season. And at the end of the season, Berta decided to leave. He took a year-long break and he then decided to join Atletico Madrid in 2013. People say he joined as a technical director, but at first he was very heavily in charge of the international scouting department. Then he went on to become technical director and then sporting director 4 years later. I'll not do a season by season breakdown of all the transfers that he did, but I'll just give you a few highlights. For example, in 13-14 वाले season में he scouted the likes of Jose Maria Jimenez, Toby Alderweireld, जो दोनों center backs हैं. He sold Falcao for 60 million euros. He purchased David Villa for 5 million and won the La Liga title that season. 14-15 वाले season में he purchased Jan Oblak from Benfica, and what a signing he has been. I think it would be fair to say that he has been one of the consistent top world-class goalkeepers for quite some time now. He also purchased Angel Correa for 7.5 million euros. Griezmann आया for 30 million from Real Sociedad, and sales involved Diego Costa and Felipe Luis to Chelsea, obviously, for 20 and 32 million respectively. 15-16 वाले season में Arda Turan was sold to Barcelona for 34 million, almost 3 times the price that he was purchased for. Jackson Martinez was brought in from Porto. Remember Jackson Martinez, what a striker he was. He was purchased in the summer for 35 million euros. The signing did not work out, did not click at Atleti, and he was immediately sold to China in the winter transfer window for 42 million. 7 million का profit instantly. Steven Savic भी आए थे from Fiorentina, 25 million. Vieto आए थे from Villarreal for 20 million. 16-17 वाले season में Kevin Gamero was purchased from Sevilla, 32 million में. Nicolas Gaitan आए थे from Benfica for 25 million. Vezalco आए थे for 16 million. Diego Jota आए थे from Portugal for 7 million. So bit hits and misses आप बोल सकते हैं 16-17 वाले season. 17-18 वाले season में Oliver Torres को बेचा गया after he had a decent loan season. And this was the first time Berta made a costlier mistake, which was purchasing a aging Diego Costa for 60 million from Chelsea. Yani Carrasco was sold to China for 30 million, which proved to be a good move. Carrasco stayed there for I think 2 या 3 साल, and then he came back to Atleti for 27 million. So मोटा मोटी मतलब फायदे में ही रही Atleti. That season they won the Europa League, and La Liga maybe they finished second. So it was a very successful season for Atleti trophies wise. 18-19 में Thomas Lemar, who was almost on the verge of ending up at Arsenal, he was purchased and snapped up by Atleti for 72 million. इसको कॉस्टली मिस्टेक नहीं बोलेंगे, बट ही वाजंट ईदर अ हिट साइनिंग आल्सो. रॉड्री आया for 20 million, 1 साल रहा, and he was sold for a massive profit, and we all know what Rodri has been doing since then. Take a Ballon d'Or winner, European champion with Spain. Johnny Otto आए, Spanish fullback, for 7 million, and then he was loaned to Wolves and then subsequently sold even to Wolves for I think like 20 odd million. तो एक hefty profit भी हुआ वहाँ पे. I think Diego Jota पे थोड़ा regret रहेगा, even though he was sold for a small bit of profit, but he was then sold 3 times the price just 2 seasons later when Wolves sold him to Liverpool basically. 1920 season वाला was a very interesting season. So Atleti brought in Joao Felix on a fee that ended up being way too much. Marcos Llorente आए, and is still with Atleti by the way, and that has proven to be a very good deal. Hermoso आए, again a good signing I would say. Kieran Trippier आया, and Hector Herrera came on a free. And departures wise ना, तो they made some excellent sales in the form of Griezmann to Barcelona, Lucas Hernandez to Bayern Munich, Rodri to Man City, Gelson Martins भी गया Monaco. 2021 वाला season you can see कि Morata वाला loan saga, it came to an end after 18 months. Carrasco was back. Kondogbia भी also signed. So Lucas Torreira was also at Atleti, loan पे गया था from Arsenal. But the major bit of news that season was the signing of Luis Suarez from Barcelona for just under 10 million euros, yaar. And what a signing that was! What a signing that was! He would go on to score 32 league goals in 50 starts. वो वाला season में they ended up winning the league, yaar. And what a crazy bit of business and what a signing! What a player, man, Luis Suarez. Okay, and departures wise, you can obviously see that Thomas Partey joined Arsenal. Personally speaking, I loved the signing. 21-22 वाले season में they made some good signings. Defending champs थे at this point of time, and they signed Rodrigo De Paul from Udinese, which has turned out to be a good piece of business for them. Matheus Cunha आया from Germany. Griezmann वापस आया and Reinildo आया. सेल्स वाइज ज्यादा इतना कुछ हुआ नहीं, बट साउल को लोन किया था एंड ट्रिपियर वाज सोल्ड टू न्यूकैसल ऑब्वियसली. 22-23 वाला सीजन ना, इट इज रियली इंटरेस्टिंग. अगेन बजट बहुत कम था, ठीक है. सो व्हाट दे डिड वाज दे डिसाइडेड टू ब्रिंग इन एक्सेल वित्सेल फ्रॉम डॉर्टमुंड ऑन अ फ्री ट्रांसफर. Samuel Lino was also signed from the Portuguese league. Great bit of scouting. Winter में Atleti brought in Memphis Depay and Matt Doherty. ठीक है, मतलब ज्यादा खर्चा नहीं हुआ वहाँ पे. 23-24 season is, you can call this season basically as a finale for Berta. He was obviously not given much money to work with, and he ended up turning again to the free market. This is where he worked his magic. Soyuncu आया free में, Azpilicueta आया free में, Gabriel Paulista आया free में. And departures wise, they made excellent piece of businesses when they sold Matheus Cunha to Wolves for 50 million. Renan Lodi को भी उन्होंने बेचा to Marseille for 20 million. Okay, 24-25 season, the last summer basically. Finally, they got rid of Joao Felix when they sold him to Chelsea. I think that was a good piece of business there. And incomings में obviously Julian Alvarez came in from Man City, where he basically won every trophy available to him. He's been a hit signing, yes. Conor Gallagher आया Chelsea से. Le Normand आया from Real Sociedad, one of the top billed defenders outside of the top 3 in Spain. But काफी injuries रहे हैं ये साल. And Sorloth भी आया from Villarreal, although fees थोड़ा ज्यादा लगता है 30-35 odd million के range में, but he has done well at Atleti this season so far. So to summarize his time at Atleti, what I would say is कि it was his responsibility to make sure that Atleti kept within the La Liga का strict financial control वाले जो rules हैं. And during his time there at Atletico Madrid, they obviously reached the Champions League finals twice. 2 बार La Liga जीता उन्होंने in 2014 and 2021, and they won the Copa del Rey in 2013. 2014 में Spanish Supercopa, 17-18 में Europa League, and 2018 में UEFA Super Cup. In terms of signings, in terms of departures, in terms of making money, वो सब ठीक है. He's done really well. That is really something that we look forward to. कि something similar in a much more grander scale will be done or achieved at Arsenal. But what really impressed me is the fact if you look at players like Mario Mandzukic, if you look at players like Raul Jimenez, if you look at players like Johnny या Jackson Martinez या Chelsea Martins, ये players को लाया गया for X amount of money, ठीक है, did not work out, and instantly they were get rid of without wasting any time. Mario Mandzukic, 22 million purchase from Bayern, did not work out, immediately sold to Juve. Raul Jimenez, 10.5 million signing, did not work out, immediately sold the next season. ज़्यादा इस पे loss भी incur नहीं हुआ. Players like Gelson Martins, Johnny, Jackson Martinez, purchase किया गया, did not work out, sold immediately for a profit. This is what I want. This is what we need at Arsenal. ये चाहिए हमको, ठीक है. Players आए, काम किए, अगर नहीं काम किए, जो भी हो, if it's not a right fit, if it is not something that is not working out at Arsenal, move them on, and move them on whilst making some money as well. Third segment is to-do list at Arsenal Football Club. But before I tell you कि मेरे हिसाब से what are the objectives or what is the plan of action that is to be done, what are the immediate targets, and before that I want to tell you this कि Arsenal posted a club record revenue of 616.6 million but made an overall loss of 17.7 million for the financial year ending 31st May 2024. This revenue is again divided into 3 categories, which is commercial revenue, which was increased from 169 to 218. Commercial revenue माने mostly it is stemmed from the deals with Adidas, Emirates, Shoba Realty, Visit Rwanda. Second is broadcasting revenue, which was increased from 191.2 million to 262.3 million, and match day revenue, which was increased from 102.6 million to 131.7 million. And wage bill bhi badha hai accordingly, right? So wage bill increased from 234.8 million to 327.8 million across both men's and women's teams, by the way. Despite all this increase in revenue generation, we posted an 18 million mota moti loss. Worth noting also is the fact कि ये हमारा 6th consecutive loss है. माने last 6 seasons में we have been posting losses. ठीक है? This is where Andrea Berta needs to come in, and this is what he needs to fix. He has to work on 3 areas. One, एक है recruitment, एक दूसरा है departures, and तीसरा है contracts. In terms of recruitment, obviously we know कि हम लोग को striker चाहिए. We are looking at Sesko, we are looking at Isak. Everybody needs Arsenal to sign that 30 goal a season wala striker who will possibly help us finally move past that final hurdle. But I don't think Isak aayega, especially if Newcastle finish in a Champions League space. Apart from a striker, what I also want is that Arsenal should sign a left winger. We cannot keep on relying on Gabriel Martinelli. I'm not saying we should sell him, but he should not be our continuous starter. We can rotate with him. He can be a number 2 player, but we definitely need a tricky, smashing, world-class left winger for sure. Somebody like Nico Williams, somebody like Rafael Leao. And at midfield, obviously, I think dono Thomas Partey and Jorginho to nahi rahenge. I think either one, or maybe perhaps worst case scenario, dono ke dono bhi ja sakte hain. They might get sold this summer. That leaves a gap basically. So this is where the discussions of Zubimendi is happening. I still think we need a number 8, and this 3 to 4 positions, this 3 to 4 signings is going to be extremely critical for us in terms of signings. In terms of goalkeeper, David Raya will continue to be our number 1, of course, but Neto will be going, and we will obviously need a number 2 goalkeeper, and obviously we are involved with John Garcia, Espanyol के. ठीक है, ये हो गया signings / recruitment. In terms of departures, sales, this is where we need to be proactive. I think Trossard needs to go. I think either one of Thomas Partey or Jorginho needs to go as well. Kieran Tierney ka deal to Celtic is already a done deal. Jakub Kiwior will obviously not want to be spending another season warming the bench. Zinchenko will have 1 year left on his contract. He'll also become a bit part player. Loan players भी काफी सारे हैं. Nuno Tavares has done well at Lazio, but what I think is at least we should be able to demand 15 to 20 odd million for him. Fabio Vieira has done well recently at Porto. Whether he comes back, whether he has a future at Arsenal or not is yet to be seen, but I think he'll not be sold. I think he'll be given more time. Sambi Lokonga has done well at Sevilla. It remains to be seen whether Sevilla take up that option or not. Karl Hein has played in week out for Valladolid. वहाँ पे भी अच्छा करा है उसने. Although they're on the verge of relegation and the team ही बेकार है, but he started off the season very well. उसके first 10-15 games at the La Liga club was very top notch. He did exceptionally well against Villarreal and Real Madrid. Although the Madrid wala game में they ended up on the losing side, but he made some cracking saves in that game. Reece Nelson, I think we should be looking at selling Reece Nelson for good. Third bit है contracts, existing contracts. कौन से सारे players हैं which Arsenal should be looking at कि भाई नहीं इनको let's tie him down to a long contract. Gabriel Magalhaes is currently earning बहुत कम, well below his other peers. I think he has earned it कि भाई उसको भी एक नया contract मिले where he's at par with the club's top earners. Saka, Saliba and Gabriel, they have deals running till 2027, of course. Players like Ben White, players like Odegaard, Saka, Rice, Gabriel, Saliba, ये 5-6 players हैं, they are our core players. ठीक है, इनको कहीं मत जाने दो. You tie them down to long contracts. I think that should be one of the critical responsibilities of Berta. And of course, the loan model अपने youth setup का, the youth setup का जो भी current existing loan model है, उसको भी improve करना should be one of the tasks that Berta should be aiming at. So ये था to-do list at Arsenal FC currently. And as promised, special segment which contains a special message from a very special guest. ठीक है, we reached out to Donald Trump. ठीक है, Donald Trump से हमने बात करा and he had this message for us.
With Andrea Berta, Arsenal are going to make millions, save millions. Perhaps I should speak with Stan and Poole and some money. And you know what? I've been very successful. Everybody loves me. And with Berta, North London is going to enjoy him. He knows finance, he's smart, and he's been very successful. He's got my vote. Rest of the world will envy him.
So there we go. That's it. इसी के साथ our video has come to an end. And if you like that video, please do subscribe and comment करिए feedback के साथ. And I'll see you soon in the next video. Till then, come on, you Gunners.
Like the video, guys, come on. The dude is putting in crazy effort. Subscribe to the channel Being Sarangi and follow him on socials.